Hey creators, welcome back to Creator Best Life for a brand new video. I'm Kimani and welcome back to our first writing vlog of the year. I am so freaking excited to start this writing vlog and to start writing and to start the script, and I want to take you guys on the ride with me. So first and foremost, this is a feature and it's a romance, and I would like to show you guys my behind the scenes process of how I write my projects from beginning to end. I don't usually write features. I am a pilot girly. Every single time, not every single time, but most times when I sit down to write a feature, it becomes a TV show. So, I don't know. We'll figure it out as it comes along. But this is definitely going to be a feature. And so this process is going to be a breakdown in a few different episodes of how I get my scripts done beginning to end to a first draft and then possibly a second draft. So if you're interested in storytelling and writing scripts, please stay for a while. Give me a thumbs up, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you're alerted when I post a brand new video every single time, because sometimes it won't tell you. And most importantly, hit the subscribe button so you can join the fam and follow along. Today, we are working on our synopsis and our character breakdowns. I feel like that's one of the most important parts of your storytelling process. It is the meat. It is what you need as your foundation. So we're going to work on that today. Per usual, when we're writing, we start out with a warm beverage. I have tea right now. No, I'm not sick. My husband is sick. So I am drinking some Throat Coat Lemon Echinacea tea with peach ginger mixed in there with a lemon slice, because we're not getting sick around here, even though I do sound a little bit congested, and we're going to figure that out later. It is a little dusty in here. We have 2 cats, but this is for me. I also have a little snacky snack. This is my little snacky snack. I like to put a handful of nuts or 2 in one of these little tiny ramekins I found at the Dollar Tree. I have pecans and almonds in there, and then I have some dark chocolate, some Hue dark chocolate. So this is what I'm having as my little snacky snack while we get through our story. I like to take out my Remarkable tablet, which is one of the best things I could have ever received as a gift. I freaking love this tablet because it is like writing on paper. So I put all my ideas in here. I put my YouTube scripts in here sometimes. I take notes on this thing. I do my read-alongs with like scripts and stuff. And I'm just gonna call this Bend.
Oh, so you doing the bending.
Okay, now we open our folder up and I can organize it. I love this new update. You can create documents and move any type of content or subfolder here. So cool. Okay, so you've seen my Remarkable tablet. I also like to use Google Docs and Google Drive to save my beats and my outlines. But I'm going to show you that in another video because we're not ready for that yet. Right now, we are only doing our synopsis and our character breakdown. So like I said, it is a feature, and this is a romance feature. I don't want to say rom-com. It's very much so romance, coming of age, finding yourself. And it's a coming of age as in like this person is an adult. And I believe that they start out as like teenager, like 17, 18, and then they matriculate into adulthood. And that's how I want the story to go. And it's following this young woman who wants a bigger, softer life. And she tries to do whatever it takes to get there. And she makes some sacrifices. She loses herself a little bit along the way, as women do. And it starts in the 40s and 50s and then goes through to the 2000s. And it follows her life. And this is a Black woman growing up as a sharecropper. She gets married and life happens. Life just happens. And so I'm trying to develop this story. So basically, I'm thinking that I want my character to start out at home, longing for a different life, and then they get married and they start out on this journey without telling too much about my story, because I don't want to give up all the goods, you know what I'm saying? So basically, my character is very headstrong, very stubborn. She likes things her way. She likes comfort, and she hasn't been comfortable at home. And now's the time for her to move on, grow up, because she is 17, 18 years old. So now's the time to get out the house. And back then, like, for women to get out the house, specifically black women, but women in general, you would have to get married. So she has to get married because that's the only way that you can have that mobility and somewhat of a freedom, because you can't even have a credit card. You can't have a bank account. Most women did not know how to drive. So you were totally, totally dependent on a man, which kind of, like, if you really think about it, not only is it oppressive, but it just makes no sense, because for the man to have to do all the driving and the man to have to do all the bank account and stuff like that, like, don't you want help? You don't want help? Like, it just doesn't make sense to do it all. But then again, it's like, that's the bare minimum, because she's the one who has to take care of the children and take care of the house and this and that. So, I mean, I guess they thought it was an easy trade-off, and of course it was out of control. But regardless, that's the kind of story and backstory I'm trying to use when I'm building my character and my story. So I'm going to do my synopsis first, and then I'm going to do the backstory for my characters. And I named my two main characters Mercy and Josiah. And I feel like those are really cool, for lack of a better word, old-timey names, kind of classic names that are really nice. They roll off the tongue well, and kind of embody like strong personalities. And I also like the name Mercy because I feel like it gives a little, not only is she a strong personality, but it adds softness to her, which is what she is seeking in her life, a tad bit of softness and ease. And that's what I want to bring to her story. So I'm going to do a montage. I'm going to come up with these arcs for you guys, and then we'll come back and chat. Okay, it is after I have taken a couple of breaks. However, I feel really good about this synopsis. So I had to figure out what kind of story I wanted to tell and where I wanted to start in my story, because you're technically not supposed to start at the beginning. You have to just insert yourself in the middle of what's going on. And I start in the middle of a conflict that my main character Mercy is having at home with her family, with her parents, and she just wants to leave this life alone. She wants to leave it behind. And so, like I said before, like, she gets married, and I am trying to answer the questions of, do you, like, how do you reach the happy medium through marriage at a time like that? How do you live this life of servitude and also neglecting yourself? Like, do you get that joy and that fulfillment for yourself at some point in your life, or do you just go through your life without having it? Like, is that enough? What is enough? And like, how do you go through life neglecting yourself, and what does that look like for yourself, and what does that look like in how you show up in your marriage and your relationship and other relationships and friendships in your life? What does that look like to just be totally unfulfilled, or just like pivoting in your life? Like, what does that look like? Because it looks different for all of us, but what does it look like for these specific characters? And I think it's a fun coming of age story. I think that it'll be entertaining. I think that it'll be heartbreaking in different areas. And I really want to write this because it helps me to dive deeper into emotional stories and dive deeper into what my characters feel and feelings and emotions and things that adult characters go through as they matriculate through life. And it's been great to come up with the background for my stories. So, like, my main character, Mercy, she dreams bigger than her other siblings. She can come off as arrogant, but she just likes nice things and she believes that she deserves them. She has the audacity to believe that she deserves them. And so does Josiah. And he is someone that is strong-willed and very much so the epitome of I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I think that it's cool to give them different personality traits based on when they were born. And so I decided to make Josiah a Pisces and I made Mercy a Taurus, and how those, I don't necessarily think that that's just concrete about who you're going to be and what kind of person you're going to be and what your personality traits are. But I think that there are some correlations, and I think that it's cool to dive into what makes this person who they are and then dive into what their parents are like. Like, for instance, one of my characters has a parent who struggles with addiction. And then I have another character whose parents pass away. And then I have a character who is afraid of being judged and criticized, hates being criticized, hates know-it-alls, hates routines. I have another character who is warm and loving and hates unpredictability. So this character really loves novelty. And I the best way that I can describe the feeling that I have for writing this story right now is that it is scratching the itch of psychology that I really love and that I fell in love with when I was growing up. Because I used to read a bunch of psychology articles just for fun, just because I liked learning more about the way that people think. And I think that started out from me being in the room when my mom was watching stuff like Snapped in like 48 hours and stuff. I think that's the show. But like, then I wanted to get in the headspace, not in the headspace, but just like understand, like, why are these people doing this? What is this? And so I would just dive deep into, like, what is narcissistic personality disorder? What is a sociopath? What is a psychopath? Like, it just intrigues me totally. And so, not that I'm making these people crazy, but I really have been enjoying developing their personality and psychology. And I also, fun fact, I mean, maybe not really a fun fact, but I also love watching actors give interviews after they have done a specific role. So recently, because they've been on the Golden Globe circuit, Michael B. Jordan did an interview, and I can't remember who he was with. So I watched two different ones. One, he was by himself, and another one he was with Matt Damon. But the particular one where he was by himself, he was talking about, no, this is the same one. Crazy. This is the same one where he says that he does a journal, his methodology for creating, building his characters off of the page. He writes a journal with all the backstories and all the traumas of his characters. And for one, that's what writers should do. And two, I love that because I did learn that in acting school. And so it's really important to just fully understand who your character is so you know what their motivations are. And doing this early on is going to help me with my decision making when I'm writing the story, so that automatically my characters can tell me, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to do, and I don't have to think twice about it. It just is immediate. It's second nature. And I think that that's the cool part about storytelling, about acting, and about writing. And so, yeah, hope that helps you with your writing process. But yeah, so that's what works for me. So what I did was, not only would I write down like their traits and the traits that they get from their zodiac signs, but also like what kind of character, like, are they headstrong? Are they pushovers? And then I write details about their parents, who their parents are and who their siblings are. and other family members and friends around them, what their environment is like, what kind of environment they grew up in. And then also, like, are they a class clown? Are they more timid and quiet and, you know, kind of go with the flow? And then, like, are they a big dreamer, or are they someone that lets life happen to them? Or are they a big dreamer who lets life happen to them and does not act? They just only react. And so, like, that's been helpful for me creating these characters. And then I also focused on what do they like, what do they dislike? Like, do they have a favorite dessert? Do they have a favorite meal? Do they have a favorite place to go? What do they do? Like, these questions are important. What do they do when they are having a hard time, when they've had a bad day? Do they have like a dessert? Do they eat their feelings? Do they starve? Do they have an eating disorder, like another eating disorder? Do they talk to a friend or talk to a parent? Are they a sabotager? Are they a self-sabotager? Are they destructive? Do they hit things or people or whatever it might be? So that helps me create these characters and build off of them. Are they a humble person? Are they arrogant? Are they religious and spiritual? Are they agnostic? Are they someone who creates drama, or are they someone who's more of a pacifist and likes to diffuse situations? When they are arguing, I ask myself this for these characters. When they are arguing, specifically, it's helpful for people that are, for characters who are couples or anybody, but when you're arguing, like, what is your, like, what kind of style do you argue, or what kind of style do you debate? Is this like a, do I shut down? Am I a runner, or do I attack it head on? Am I aggressive, or am I like the question asker? Or it could be so many different things, and that's why it's so important to understand how people's brains work and how they react to stuff. And that's what I love about therapy. So therapy is a great tool if you want to write. Well, it's a great tool for yourself, and it helps you understand your own feelings. And I think that that's a great way to sort through your feelings when it comes to writing and what kind of things that you want to say. So also with this, I've been thinking about my themes, which is another important part when you're first getting started with your project, which is like, what do you want to say? What kind of story is this? And I said it's a romance, but it's kind of like a coming of age. And it's dealing with themes of like the plights of women, and specifically Black women, and the intersectionality of that. And then also how they're specifically, because this is like the 1940s through the early 2000s, like, what does that change look like? Because it's technically going to turn into a bit of a period piece, that you have to know like what's going on politically and socially in the world, specifically in the United States, as a woman and as a Black woman, as a Black person, how they live through bits of Jim Crow and segregation and Martin Luther King and the boycotts and the marching and Malcolm X and all, and the Civil Rights Act. And then you also have desegregation, and then you have the boom of technology and the internet, and women getting the right to vote, Black people getting the right to vote. And like, I think that that plays a part into how these characters are built, specifically for me, and if you're doing like a period piece, and also like how they would react and respond to stuff. Like typically, like in the 50s, you got a housewife. Like the wife does everything. The wife has the children, the wife takes care of the home, the husband goes to work, comes back home to a warm plate of food. The wife gets up from the meal, cleans the kitchen, husband goes to sleep. She's making his lunch for the next day. Today, you can have a nanny. Today, you can have the dad going to the grocery store and the wife goes to work. You can have so many different things. You can have both parents at home. Like, what does that look like for these characters? And that's been so much fun to play around with the different scenarios and what makes sense for my story and how people react to different stuff, especially because like the things you would do specifically as a Black person in the 1940s and 50s are different from the things you would do now. right? And so that helps me understand my motivations for my characters. So yeah, this session was super helpful to create the backstories for my two main characters. Now I need to build out their lives. What are their siblings like? What are their friends like? What are the rest of their family like? What are their jobs? And now that I have kind of come up with the general direction I want my story to go, I can decide that, like, now they're going to have a job. Now that they're going to be at home, they have siblings. I need to carve out these characters and what these characters are like and how they interact with each other. So that is going to be what I'm going to do next time, specifically family and friends, the relationships that they have with the other people around them, specifically work, and then fine tune my story. So that's going to be episode 2 of this. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this session. I enjoyed it myself, and it has been really fun to develop these characters and develop this story and share that with you, and hopefully help you do the same thing for your own story. So if you like this, please give me a thumbs up, share with a friend, hit the notification bell, and subscribe so that you can see the rest of the series and understand how to take your story from idea to a finished, polished script that is ready to pitch and ready to film. So after this series of writing it, I think I can show you guys what it's like and what you need to do once you finish the script, how to build your pitch deck, your Bible, build your pitch that you're actually going to say. So you need to have an elevator pitch, which is 1 minute. You need a 5-minute one, and then you probably need like a 20 to 30-minute one, just so that you're covered for when you have pitch meetings, general meetings, that kind of thing. So yeah, I have pitched before. I still pitch. I pitch online. I have pitched in person. And through some of my pitches, I've had some of my projects go on to be put in the pool to be optioned. Ultimately, they passed on my project, but that just means that I am one step closer to selling a project, which is great. And I also film some of my own stuff. So with that said, I know a thing or two, but I'm also still building with you guys. Hopefully that is the plan, so that we build together and grow together and matriculate into our desired career positions together, so that we can make these films and bring them to our audiences. So comment below if you are working on a project yourself alongside me. What is your project like? Is it a movie? Is it a TV show? And what's the genre? I think that's fun to share. And then also, do you want me to do another series on pitching and then starting your project? Like if you need to do a proof of concept, what the budgeting is like and whatnot, because I can do an entire series on that as well, which would be a lot of fun for me because I'm gonna have to do it anyway. So yeah, fill me in. Let's talk in the comments. I can't wait to talk to you guys in a brand new video. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Go create your best life today, guys.